You saw the shot here at University of Cincinnati's Nippert Stadium, where today the Colerain Cardinals, even though they're the home team, they're dressed in red, will take on the St. Xavier Bombers, who will soon be coming out of their locker room. They'll be dressed in white. I'm Dave Eby. I'm joined by Ralph Nardini. And Ralph, it doesn't get much better than this for week one.
Dave, this can be a great game tonight. You have Colerain, who's ranked nationally in the top 10, and St. X, who's coming into the season kind of unknown. They're not sure what to do. They've lost a couple big-name players last year, starting quarterback Robbie Schoenhoff, who's at Ohio State, and a few guys that need to come in and kind of take over.
One of the things I think that we'll be trying to see in this game is exactly who will step up, and you will see some great stars. For the Colerain Cardinals, you start with Connor Smith, their great left tackle who will be heading to Ohio State. You then look at their linebacking crew of Tyler Moeller and Cobrani Mixon, both of them being drafted by Division I schools. So as usual, Ralph, that Cardinal defense is going to look very tough. The Bombers are not without some thrust of their own, with Alex Albright and Chris Sione both being looked at by great schools and having great seasons last year.
Well, Albright's going to be in the linebacker position. He's already committed to Boston College. And you're right, Chris Sione and Joe Reese. And Joe Reese is probably going to be going to a MAC school playing ball next year. So X is bringing some talent to the table. Again, it's who can step up to the plate and fill in for the guys that left.
There's so much pressure on both these teams. Colerain is the defending state champions. They had an excellent season last year. Some think the best ever in the city of Cincinnati. St. Xavier wants to show that they belong here this afternoon. Matthew Schulte, the senior kicker, puts it on the tee for the Colerain Cardinals. Back deep for the St. Xavier Bombers, Darius Ashley. He's a young man you'll come to hear a lot about, along with number 21, Chris Sione. Ashley, the sprinter, sophomore, already starting for the Bombers, is taken down on about the 23-yard line. And number 45, Calvin Dixon, there early for the Cardinals.
You can see on the replay, you can see Darius Ashley, who is just a sophomore this year and really could be one of the up-and-coming stars for this squad. Last year as a freshman, one of the interesting facts was I believe he scored a touchdown on the opening drive of every game.
The other great thing about Darius is that super speed he has, is he was able to run varsity track, and people around the state of Ohio already know about his speed. We'll talk about the Bomber injuries in just a minute, as they're missing 3 starters. Great rollout there by the new quarterback, number 3, Brad Shear. He found number 21, Chris Sione, the GCL Player of the Year and first team All-Southwest Ohio, for a big pickup for the Bombers out to about the 31-yard line.
You'll notice they had Darius Ashley in the backfield as a running back and put Sione out wide as a receiver. It was a nice play fake by Shear, who really is, according to a lot of people, a great high school quarterback. I mean, just has a lot of talents.
Tremendous athlete, one of the few 3-sports athletes left. Sione hit underneath the line originally by number 54, that's Steve Borchers, and joined in there by number 33, Cobrani Mixon. There was some talk he may not play, and Ralph, we knew he'd be out here from gameplay 1.
Well, he sat out to scrimmage last week against Moeller, and that was the big news, but you had to know he'd be here for the opening game this year.
3rd and 1 for St. Xavier. They're on their 34-yard line. They've got a good punter. We talked about it earlier when you and I were preparing before the game, that this could become a field position game, and if the Bombers can move the sticks here, it should help improve. Wow, they ran right, and that was the problem against Chaminade Julienne, as the right side of the line just did not produce well in that game, and they just get stumped here on the right side, as there's 3 guys on Chris Sione in the backfield, and that's a loss of at least a yard.
Colerain's Calvin Dixon, number 45, saw that play and read that play from the beginning. He wasn't about to be stopped from making that tackle in the backfield.
Isaiah Clyde will go back into the deep position for the Cardinals. Number 4, that's Danny Milligan. He's a sophomore, but he's got a really good foot, both as the place kicker and as the punter. And Clyde slides up to take the ball on about the Colerain 44, so that Bomber inability to pick up the first down. And Ralph, we said a few seniors were missing, and that offensive line losing both Pettit and Lyons. Not a good first start for the Bombers there.
No, it's not. And they also lost Eddie McHale as a wide receiver. So the offense is really trying to regroup from their scrimmage on last Friday.
Let's see what the defense can do here. This is Gary Pride. Pride, the transfer from Moeller, now over at Colerain, hands off to Terrence Shear. And Shear, Ralph, just put up numbers last year that were frightening, and they're expecting an even bigger year out of him this year.
Yes, they are. They're looking for a big season out of him, and to be able to have somebody to run inside on the option like he can run is really what makes that option a threat.
Pride, coming over from Bacon, shows a lot of speed at that quarterback position, and the Cardinals are filled with speed. Clyde on the outside, Pride at quarterback. We know what Shearer can do. Lumpkin's good speed too, and Shearer got the hole there, and Joe Reese had to slide over to tackle him, but not until he got to the St. Xavier 41-yard line, and that'll be a 1st and 10 Cardinals.
The problem is if Reese has to come all the way over that far to make the tackle, that means that somebody on the corner is missing the spot they should be at.
He really hit the hole quickly. The St. Xavier linebacking crew sometimes will be rotating some of their sophomores in there. Freddie Craig, number 7, in the lineup at this point, helping out for the Bombers. St. Xavier showing a different look up front. Again, right outside, and Craig able to run him down, but Shear's got that blistering speed, and that'll be about a 5-yard pickup as Craig had to come from the middle of the field.
The problem right now, Dave, is they're sealing. Colerain's sealing the outside linebackers inside, and Shear is so quick that he hits that outside corner right away.
3 plays, 21 yards for the Cardinals. They're averaging 7 yards a play. 2nd down, about 4 yards to go. They really sealed Alex Albright that time. Pride steps underneath center. And his Cardinal offense humming along. They fumbled a lot against Moeller, but right now they look like they've got all cylinders working. Stepping up is Nick Schneider, another one of those sophomore linebackers for St. Xavier. So Schneider, Craig, they're sophomores, but they're playing important positions in this Bomber defense. Going to be 3rd and about 2.
The Bombers are going to have to figure out a way to stop Colerain from sealing the outside on him, because that's what they're doing right now. They're going to have to figure out a way to keep the running back inside.
Kevin Davis is over the nose tackle. He's going to have to start drawing some double attention down there so they can do that. Albright came in, Shearer went out, and I think he was able to get around the corner there for the 1st down. Johnny Salinger also came up, and that'll be a 1st down for the Cardinals. So they're going to bring the chains out here for a 1st down measurement. Ralph, as you said, they're just sticking the St. Xavier ends. So unless the Bombers can guess the right hole, those ends are going to have to stick up. You got Kyle Meyer on one side, and then the Bombers have been rotating on the other. It's going to be 4th and about a foot. You got to guess the Cardinals are going to go for it here, unless Matthew Schulte's really developed a deeper leg in the offseason, because that would be one heck of a kick for him. So you got to bet they're going to go for it.
Well, the report from last week I heard on the scrimmage was the kicking game wasn't all that great for Colerain. So it makes sense that they would go for this right now. This is the time when the X defense is really going to have to step up inside and on the corners, because you just don't know which way they're going to come, and everybody's going to have to fill a hole here.
And the Colerain offensive line just out muscles the St. Xavier line. Pride looking, it's going to depend where they're going to mark it. The Bombers snuck in behind him, but did that initial push get enough? Let's see where the mark's going to be made, and we'll see.
It looks to me like
a 1st down.
The far side officials marking it. It looks like it'll be at a 1st down spot.
Yep, they're going to give him the 1st down. 1st and 10, Colerain there. As I said, that Colerain line, Ralph, I believe averages about 25 pounds per man more than the St. Xavier defensive line. Uncharacteristic. The Bombers kind of small on both lines this year, offensively and defensively.
They are, and they're going to have to make their move with speed, not with power. When you're going against guys that are 290, 300 pounds, you got to out quick them to the hole.
Well, so far they've been running behind Connor Smith, and you can see why he's all state, because he's just destroying that St. Xavier right side of the defensive line is Shear, number 27, again racks up a good 7 yards at least on that play before Tim Fago gets in there. So we're calling a lot of names of the safeties and the linebackers. So this Cardinal team looks like they're starting off right where they left off last year.
Well, what they're doing is just moving the ball down the field. They're controlling every bit of that line of scrimmage.
We talked about St. Xavier's offense was going to have to get some controlled drives and really run the ball well. Their failure to not get that first down, allowing Colerain here on the march. And I think our prophecy about St. Xavier is going to have to really hang on to the ball and maybe cause a few turnovers and get a short field score to stay in this game. Looking a little true here. A great stick there by Joe Reese.
Joe Reese was able to shed his block and to get in the hole and make that tackle. Again, it's a 3rd and 1. It's 3rd and short yardage. The defense needs to come up with a big play.
Puts a lot of pressure on your defense when the other team is scoring 5. You're getting 6 to 7 yards on first down. Makes it really difficult. Underneath the Shear, and Shear is just dropped again behind the line of scrimmage. Initial hit there for the Bombers made by Kyle Meyer, who slid all the way across with help on the inside by Louis Miller. Going to be 4th and 1.
That was a great shed of the block by Kevin Davis on that one.
Kevin is one of the seniors, and he's definitely going to have to come in. Darth Davis going to have to shut down the inside there for St. Xavier. Now, Colerain has yet to use the pitch. Number 26, Kyle Lumpkin, been putting in a lot of steps coming back and forth behind Shear. So far, they have not had to throw the ball. St. Xavier staying wide open over Connor Smith, and
Colerain just called a timeout.
The Cardinals are going to take a timeout here. Interesting version there by St. Xavier. They just basically put no one over the top of Connor Smith and doubled in another area. So
the last couple times it looks like what they're doing is putting their nose man over the center, basically leaving Connor Smith in the guard that hole open and putting somebody on the outside of the tackle. So I'm not sure if they're expecting to bring 2 linebackers into there or what their thought is.
So the Cardinals are on the 10th play of this drive with 5:39 remaining here in the first quarter. They've run 9, gained about 34 yards. The Bombers, 1 minute and 20 seconds, they were out. So 34 yards so far on this 9-play drive. This is the 10th play of the drive. And so far, Cardinal efficiency looks pretty darn good.
Well, they're controlling the line. They're controlling the clock. As we talked early on, that is not a good sign for St. X.
The interesting thing here, Ralph, is that we can barely hear ourselves speak because you're getting all that noise coming through all the great cameras that we have around the stadium and the great camera work you're seeing. St. Xavier's now going to call a timeout. Smart move by the Bombers. They saw something they didn't like, and Steve Speck quickly made sure he got somebody out there to get timeout called for St. Xavier.
You know, they were trying to put somebody on the field, St. X, so I don't know if somebody didn't come in, if they were playing with just 10 people out there, or if somebody was supposed to sub in.
Well, it looked like Danny Webb was trying to get on the field. He's the one who basically got the timeout called in there. And Tom Hegman seems to have walked off the sidelines here now for St. Xavier, so we'll see if they keep that same lineup or what they're going to do. So both teams have used a timeout. The Cardinals so far have looked very dominant in this opening drive. St. Xavier had some good plays, but just like in the scrimmage, couldn't convert on some of those 3rd and shorts. Ralph, let's talk about some of the keys to the game while St. Xavier's huddled on the far sideline. We've talked about possession, a little bit about causing some turnovers. What else do you think St. Xavier needs to do to stay in this game?
St. X needs to get on top. They need to be 1 or 2 scores ahead and force Colerain out of their game plan. That's probably the biggest thing that needs to happen for St. X, because pound for pound, they're not going to be able to go with them play for play.
And that's why they have to avoid these 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 situations. So again, St. Xavier with the double formation right over the top of Kevin Davis. Number 1, that's Isaiah Clyde in motion. Mistake in the backfield, and Joe Reese.
What a play by Joe Reese on 4th down.
Joe Reese just took pride and drove him back a good 5 yards. We'll see where they'll mark it. Watch this replay.
I'm guessing what's happening is Joe Reese is keying on a quarterback. That's the only player he's watching is a quarterback. And what Colerain did that last play was instead of give it to Shearer, the quarterback kept it. Well, nobody was blocking Reese because he only had one person that he's supposed to be looking at.
I think the other thing that surprised the Cardinals, Ralph, on the last couple plays is the Bombers are lining up Kevin Davis and a man right behind him. And so far, the Cardinals haven't figured out who's going to pick that second man up for the block. Good fake by Shearer, in a little bit of trouble. He's got some room to run. He'll pick up a few yards, and that's the added dimension that Brad Shearer brings. He can scramble out of there.
It is. Curry was able to get an arm out and get him down, but you're right. That's what the coaches like about Shearer is he brings that ability to just pull the ball down and run, and that's really big for this ball club.
I guess it's a tribute to Robbie Schoenhoff, but Dominic Cafeo had signed, and he's looking at playing quarterback in college and did not play for the Bombers last year. And Shearer probably would have started for most schools, but had to ride behind Robbie. And that's the kind of arm that Robbie Schoenhoff had. Sione cuts it back, breaks one tackle, almost got through the second, but Dante Thompson came across to drop Chris Sione, and the Bombers are going to have an important 3rd and 1 again.
That was a nice hit by Thompson on Sione. I mean, the one thing about Sione is you're not going to grab him with just your arm and pull him down, as you could see on that replay. He does a great job of spinning away from tackles.
Boy, would Coach Steve Speck like to see a first down here. His defense is tired. They were on that field for a long time, and that big Colerain line pounded on him. Looks like he's got Jimmy Hobson in the backfield. Hobson picked up some big-time carries last year. Nice fake. Somebody's got to get open over the middle. He does! And a great catch made by number 6, Matthew McFarland. So McFarland, who was the backup running back, said he'd like to become the wide receiver, and he was in the slot, Ralph, and that is a great pickup for the Bombers and a first down.
It was, and it was a great setup the way they did that play because they brought Hobson in, the blocking fullback. He went up the middle, and everyone thought for sure Sione was going to go behind him.
I'll tell you what, they came to Sione. McFarland came across. Shearer drilled it in. That's a 15-yard pickup, and that's a first down for St. Xavier at midfield. There's the handoff to Jimmy Hobson. He's going to pick up about 2 yards inside. So far, the St. Xavier line holding their own.
They're doing okay. They haven't missed any big plays. They're doing a good job against a team that's a little bigger than they are.
Oh. I like the way you say little. If I'm on that offensive line looking across at guys who are 20 to 30 pounds bigger than me. But this Cardinal defense has a lot of speed, just like the Bomber defense. This is the game we sort of expected here in quarter 1. That Colerain would run that ball and that St. Xavier would have to defend the speed of the Colerain defense. And I believe the Bombers are going to be whistled for illegal procedure on the outside. Darius Ashley, number 8, checked into the lineup. Yep, there it is. Just a little bit off count there. And so it'll be
the left guard, and that's hard on the shotgun because they're trying to anticipate the snap, especially the line, because you're going against guys bigger. The best offense you have is to get out there before they move, and so you're trying to anticipate that count.
A large crowd here as we look out across. We see a sea of blue and white. Some of the Moeller fans have stayed behind. Some of the Elder fans have showed up early. The GCL is all packed on one side. Wonder if that says anything. Ashley gets the handoff, and if he wouldn't have slipped, he may have gone farther, but he'll still pick up about 5 yards on the play down to about the 47-yard line. So a little slip there by Darius Ashley as he makes his cut.
Otherwise, you're right. I think he's got a couple different ways he can go. And Darius is a good runner. But go back to what you just said about the Moeller fans and the Elder fans being there, all sitting together on one side. You know, you really see that GCL team spirit.
St. Xavier trying to even up time of possession as Colerain had a huge first drive. They couldn't score. Fake the Sione. Pitch out here now. He needs one block, and he's not going to get it. Darius Ashley needed a block from number 6, Matthew McFarland, and he's not going to get it as Matthew just got swamped under. See if they're going to call him even for a holdout here. I'm not sure Matt knew what was happening on the play because he was reaching back. I think that Colerain will not accept this penalty as it'll put the Bombers in a 4th and 10 situation. Heading back is Kyle Lumpkin, number 26, and number 1, Isaiah Clyde. And number 4, Danny Milligan, the sophomore kicker, Ralph. Punting, place kicking, as well as perhaps wide receiver duty due to the injury to Eddie McHale. This kid's got a lot of pressure on him, but he's a gamer.
He really is, and I know the coaches were looking forward to him kicking this year, and I don't think he's going to disappoint him. I was watching him warm up and boot the ball, and he really does have a great leg for a sophomore.
They would love him to hang this high and inside the 10-yard line. They do not want to let this speed of the Colerain Cardinals come back. He got it high. The Bombers were on the other side of the field. Clyde tries to get through, and there's just nothing there. Darius Ashley, the sophomore, along with Adam Smith.
As you said, inside the 10, he put it right on the 10-yard line, and the coverage team was right there. He had absolutely nowhere to go. Clyde tried to look for a hole, but there was nothing there. There was 5 white shirts just waiting.
Man, you gotta love a sophomore running back who's willing to go down and make the tackle on special teams.
Again, we're going to be calling that name Darius Ashley for a long time because he is definitely a gamer.
We have an official's timeout. I think they're going to be looking at some equipment. Yes, Alex Albright,
Little
6'6", 220-pound end, a linebacker, wherever the Bombers are going to end up playing him. And Ralph, St. Xavier with a couple different faces out there. Number 13, that's Nick Schneider. He's a sophomore. Also in on that linebacking crew is Freddie Craig. Alex Albright sometimes moves back there as well, and Louis Miller on the outside left right now.
And those are all sophomores that are really going to be a big part of this team. Again, it was a handoff to Shear, and it looks like the Bombers have finally kind of figured out the way this option's working. Now, what we haven't seen is we haven't seen the pitch to the outside yet, but so far, this play is a sign that the Bombers understand that inside handoff, and we've seen them stop Pride.
And you and I, looking over film, talked about the fact that once they can stop inside, the next thing that Colerain will try to do is try to add that pitch to the outside. Now, tight end number 47, Spencer Smith, has come into the lineup for the Cardinals. Here's there was the bring back to Lumpkin. Fortunately, St. Xavier stayed in their lanes as Lumpkin on the carry there.
That was a nice reverse on the option. But as you said, luckily the Bombers stayed home. Lumpkin could have really done some damage on that.
Fagel, along with Brookbank and Salinger, make up the deep secondary for the Bombers. Colerain so far has not converted a third down play, and they're not going to do it there as St. Xavier sealed that off. Kevin Davis underneath with some help from number 13, sophomore Nick Schneider. Also in on the play there was number 52, Kyle Meyer. And now the Cardinals will have to bring out their punting unit. And this is Matthew Schulte, the senior kicker. Matthew didn't have to punt the ball too many times last year with this explosive offense that the Cardinals have.
No, this is almost new for him, and I'll tell you, they are setting up very quick. The Cardinals are.
Well,
and I think they got it. They got it. It's a first down for the Cardinals on the offsides.
A bad mistake by the St. Xavier Bombers as 3 of the Bombers jumped, and boy, you do not want to give a cheap one up like that.
And the problem
against
is
a team like this, especially after you had them 3 and out and you would have had great field position. Now they have to do it again.
Well, and the problem is, Dave, they can't be going for a block punt this early in the game. So the question you have to ask is why you're even jumping. Let them snap the ball. You're going to block on the line. You're not going in, you're blocking the ball. That was one of the kind of mistakes that you can't make against a Cardinal team.
Cardinals will get the first down via the penalty. And so Colerain now with their 3rd first down. Pride going to be calling out the signal. Shears in the backfield. Lumpkin's in motion. Fumble!
And they got it. Bombers ball.
Number 53 recovers for St. Xavier, Louis Miller. The Bombers shot the gap. Kyle Meyer with the huge hit, and Gary Pride just could not get the handoff in there. Watch this hit right here. As Shear just can't grab it. Pride tries to get it, but there's Lou Miller.
Louis Miller just jumps on the ball, and he isn't going to lose it.
And Ralph, that's the kind of thing that we teach in practice, where you just say, fall on the ball, boys. That's what we need. And that's the end of the first quarter. The Colerain Cardinals, ranked number 6 in the country, number 1 in the city, and very high in the state of Ohio, 0, and the St. Xavier Bombers, 0. A good first half for both teams. The Cardinals with 3 first downs, the Bombers with 1. Colerain with 14 rushes, Ralph, for 34 yards. They did not throw the ball. On the other side, St. Xavier with 7 rushes for 14. Brad Shear, 2 for 2 passing for 22 yards. Colerain, 34 total yards. St. X, 36 total yards. The Cardinals had the ball over 7 minutes. The Bombers about 4:47. So for St. Xavier, I think they're glad to be out of the first quarter at 0-0, because they did not start their first scrimmage well.
They didn't, and I'll tell you, it seemed like the beginning of the game, that first drive by Colerain, the Bombers really looked a little confused, probably nervous and excited. That last play out there when Louis Miller got the fumble, you had Freddie Craig, Nick Schneider, and Lou Miller, all sophomores, out on the field. So you know they were a little nervous going into this game. I think you saw the last time Colerain had the ball that the Bombers actually looked settled down and were playing some good defense.
Well, you know, an interesting thing here at 0-0 is I believe that Colerain may have been behind once all last year, and that may have been the state final game for a very brief 3-0 period. I'm not sure on that, but I know in the regular season I do not remember them being behind. So as you said, if St. Xavier can get ahead, there's Matthew McFarland, and he just gets drilled by Isaiah Clyde. So Clyde came all the way over. McFarland's used to doing that as he ran out of the halfback position last year, Ralph, and a great play from him out of that split back position.
It was a pitch and then a reverse. It was a great play. It was an 8-yard pickup. He did get hammered out of bounds, but what a nice play. What a pickup, and what a block on the outside.
Second down, a long 2 to go here for the Bombers. Hobson in the backfield with Sione. Sione is dropped on about the line of scrimmage as he was nailed on the play by Christopher Belts, and that's going to set up a 3rd and 2. Right now the Bombers just can't get Chris Sione off the line of scrimmage so well, but a lot of their trap plays seem to be working for him, Ralph, and that's the fluidity of this team. As you said, this is a speed team. This is not a team with a huge offensive line.
No, this line isn't going to power people. They're just going to have to finesse and move them. They're going to have to be quick off the ball to control it.
St. Xavier's 33%. They're 1 for 3 on 3rd down, and that was kind of a trick pitch out. Handoff inside to Sione. He parallels
ahead. I think he got it.
First down. Chris Sione
was
down.
down.
Yep,
they're blowing it
down definitely, because he was down, reached that ball ahead, and let's see. It's all going to depend where that ball is put down. Sideline official is signaling first down, and the center official signals first down. So the Bombers pick it up here, and they'll be on the Colerain 13-yard line. I said that we needed to get some short field scores. I felt if we could get 2 and even up on the clock, the Bombers could win this game, and here's an excellent opportunity for the first of those 2.
This is a great chance for the Bombers just to move the ball in. This has been just nice ball movement going down. A good play there to get the first down.
Watch the tight end, number 34, Seth Robinson, on this play. Shear is going to hand it off, though, to Hobson as the St. Xavier blocked down well, and Hobson gets it down to about the 5-yard line. That's a play out of Cardinal playbook.
It was just a handoff to the fullback. Again, everybody's looking at Sione. They're looking at Shear, and Hobson is kind of the unknown. Nobody was looking for him.
They're going to give him 6 yards. Say that knee was down before he rolled to the 5. We'll call it 2nd down and 4 yards to go. I'm impressed, as we talked before the game, with the speed of this Colerain defense, but the Bomber offensive play calling, Ralph, has certainly not been very conservative to this point. These guys are really poking around up there, trying to find some holes. Sione's going to go.
Open
6
for the
yards,
touchdown.
The St. Xavier Bombers take a 6-0 lead, and this is what we talked about, the mental game. Can they get in the Cardinals' head and make them wonder, are we as good as we think we are?
You can see on the replay here, Dave, that the offensive line really just blocked down on their men. They took the defenders the way they wanted to go. The play set up that Sione can read where to go. There's an area and a zone to go to. It allowed the offensive line to just block the defense the way they were going.
Lou Miller started it by recovering the fumble. The Bombers went 24 yards in 5 plays in 2 minutes and 2 seconds. The sophomore, Danny Milligan, converts his point, one of many that he'll get throughout his career. And the GCL sideline of St. Xavier, Moeller, Elder is up and cheering, and you don't see that very often.
Not at the same time, that's for sure. I'll tell you, as we talked earlier, Dave, one of the keys is this Bomber offense has to get 1 or 2 scores ahead. If they can do that and get the Colerain Cardinals out of their game plan, they have a chance to win this game.
Interestingly enough, Ralph, the Bombers now with 14 plays, equaling the Cardinals' 14 offensive plays. St. Xavier with 60 yards. Field position, St. Xavier picking up that fumble, move their average out to their 42-yard line. Colerain on their 29. Now number 4, Danny Milligan kicking off here for St. Xavier. Put a lot of things into the end zone. Now it's interesting that the Bomber cheering section starts to cheer, and I'm not sure you want to wake the Cardinals up, just let well enough alone. The Wayne Warriors were clapping as they've moved into the stadium as well, as they will take on the Elder Panthers in the game coming up after this. And what a great start to high school football. UC's just been tremendous, providing a lot of support to all of these teams, and I think this is what the fans came to see. There's a huge crowd on that visiting sideline. We'll have to look down here on the home side to see how much it is. And Milligan kicking off here for St. Xavier. A lot of speed back there for the Cardinals. Lumpkin and Clyde. Milligan
into
gonna
the
put
end
it
zone.
in the end zone. Oh man, look at the coaching staff over there. They do not want to see the Cardinals be able to return these. They want to make them go 80 yards.
And the coaching staff, anytime you talk to them, they'll always tell you if you can kick it into the end zone and start them on the 20 without giving them a chance to run the ball back, they'll take that every time. Every time.
I'll tell you, there's some people who think, well, can't you get down there and trap them deep? You got to be really fast in high school to trap somebody that deep. I agree with you. Put them on the 20, make them go 80 yards. Now what St. Xavier has to do here is watch out for that speed of the Colerain Cardinals. Play within themselves. Pride fakes the handoff. Pride
there it is again.
pitch, can't do it. Alex Albright just drilled him. So Albright read that play perfectly, Ralph. Shed his block, and that's why he's going to Boston College, as that's about a 4-yard loss.
You can see Albright on this replay, and he just comes off the end, and he just goes right for Pride. And you're right, that's why he's going to Boston College, and I know they wanted him in a big way, and that's why.
I think one of the interesting things we'll see is that for the Cardinals, Pride's just going to have to get comfortable back there, and the more snaps he takes, the more comfortable he's going to get. But that is the 3rd straight play that the Cardinals have achieved negative yardage on. Shear stopped perhaps at the line of scrimmage. Met one-on-one there by St. Fagle's number 30, Brad Brookbank. So a lot of guys who didn't play last year for the Bombers. Brad Brookbank, Frank Moran, Tim Fagle, John Salinger. They're back there defending deep. Sophomores in the middle. Freddie Craig along. So it's going to be 3rd and about 13. Let's see if the Cardinals put it up here. Pride does have a good arm. He really threw well at Roger Bacon. So Pride, they have not converted on 3rd down, but Pride ran a good passing offense at Roger Bacon. St. Xavier shut it down. He should be about 2 yards short as he's dropped on the play there by number 31, Frank Moran. And Colerain's going to have to punt here, 4th and 3.
You'll see on the replay that he actually gets outside. Albright was trapped on the inside, and he was, I believe the tackle was by Nick Schneider finally, but he got to the outside. That's something they're not going to be able to let Pride do.
Now this is one of the things the Bomber coaching staff is worried about, punt returns. The injury to senior Eddie McHale has put them in a bad way. Johnny Milligan a sophomore, will be back there. Fields that one. He's a wide receiver looking to get a block, and Milligan's going to be swarmed under at about the 45-yard line, then driven back. Again, on the tackle for the Cardinals was Spencer Smith, tight end and linebacker. Boy, I'll tell you, both these teams, Ralph, just solid. Cardinal, good kicking game, good coverage, good job there by the Bombers. For a first game, these teams look like they're in mid-season form, but they got to be.
They really do. Other than the offside penalty by the Bombers on that punt, they're playing clean, good football.
So Milligan got a 10-yard return on the play. The sophomore seeing a lot of action here, and St. Xavier able to bring back that punt by Matthew Schulte that was about 39 yards. The Bombers will start from their 45-yard line. I think we told you before that their average start was the 42. Oh,
there it is, pass interference, Dave.
Yes, sir. Leland Zerbe put the good move on and looked to cut up field, and that might not have been a bad play because I think Leland may have had the step. So the pass interference should be on Colerain's number 2, Henry Lemons.
It was, and Lemons was going to get beaten. He knew it. It was a play fake by Shear and a pump fake, and then Lemons could do nothing but knock the receiver out of bounds. He knew he was going to be beat downfield.
So St. Xavier's going to pick up a first down via the penalty. Cardinals already had one that way, and now the Bombers have the favor return. A fumble by Colerain early or late in the first quarter, leading to an early St. Xavier score that puts them up 7-0. If the Bombers could convert here, they'd be playing our script book. Shear calling out the signals. Sione looking to move inside. Sione going to try to go outside. What a great move by number 28, Tyler Moeller. And that's why that man is going Division I. Tyler Moeller took the fake inside and then had enough speed to slide out. And Sione looks like he's hurt, and St. Xavier definitely does not want to see that.
That's not a good thing for the Bombers at this time.
For the Bombers at this point. As Chris Sione is a major part of this St. Xavier offense. Last year, Sione averaging over 100 yards a game, rushing for over 1,000 yards on the season. Probably see number 8, Darius Ashley, check into the lineup here for the Bombers. Number 6, Matthew McFarland, had been switched to the slot. Boy, injury to the Bombers seniors early in the season here, Ralph.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it was, I think what happened is I think Sione kind of got the breath knocked out of him, if I'm not mistaken. I think we'll see how he lands on the ball.
Lands on this ball here.
And that's exactly what happened. He landed right on that ball. I think you'll see him back in a play or two.
He is one tough customer. So the Bombers looking here at 2nd and 10. Shear so far has been able to roll and find 2 receivers. We're looking here at the Darius Ashley has checked into the St. Xavier backfield. We've got an official's timeout. So Tyler Moeller, Cabrani Mixon doing what we thought they would do defensively for the Cardinals. The DBs are just so fast for Colerain that St. Xavier, it doesn't seem to me that the Bombers are going to be able to break one. They're really going to have to earn these points the hard way.
Oh, they are. It's these. Colerain has the speed, especially in the defensive backfield.
Shear, double back formation. He's going to find Darius Ashley. Ashley looking for a block. Ashley driven out of bounds on about the 26-yard line, and that should be a first down for St. Xavier as Isaiah Clyde came over and knocked him out of bounds.
And you can see on the replay that Darius, you can't see him, but he actually just goes in like he's going to be a blocker, slips through, and he's wide open in the middle part of that defensive backfield, about probably 8 yards off the ball.
15-yard pickup, another first down for the Bombers. Shear now 3 for 3, and that's 38 passing yards for St. Xavier, and that's the different statistic right now offensively for St. Xavier, are those passing yards. Coming on a blitz, St. Xavier trying to pick it up. Robinson was over the middle, and Cabrani Mixon got a big hand and knocked that one down. Steve Speck wants to make sure it wasn't a little bit ahead of time, but a great play by Mixon there, 2nd and 10.
It's a great defensive play by the Cardinals. X only had one back to block, and they brought 2 people from the outside, so one of them was open and coming at Shear. He had to get rid of that ball quickly.
Good thing for the Bombers there, though, is I think when you see defenses that blitz. The coaches are going to mark that. They're going to look at the film at halftime and the pictures, and they're going to make some adjustments. But a good pickup by the Bomber running backs there. Shearer again looking to do the quarterback draw, and there it is. He fumbled
the ball.
Was he down or not? No, he was not. Colerain recovers. So Shearer got hit, fumbled the ball, and the Cardinals recover on their 15-yard line. Otherwise, it could have been about 3rd and 1. Let's watch the replay here as Shearer takes off. Let's see if he tucks it under.
I think what he tries to do is stretch out. No, he got hit on the tackle, knocked the ball out of his hands.
Henry Lemons on the recovery for the Cardinals. Shearer's knee was not down as he originally got hit by Mixon then. So St. Xavier turns it over to the Cardinals, and now Colerain will start 1st and 10. So that second score the Bombers really wanted to put on the board. We'll have to wait, see if the defense can hold the Cardinals here. Colerain running. Shearer on the play. Number 10, that was Fagel, and number 13, that's Nick Schneider. And right now, the St. Xavier linebackers are making good reads. More importantly, single one-on-one good tackling.
They really are. They, I think, the nervousness is gone now. You can see it and sense it from up here that the sophomores are feeling good about what they can do. It seems like the whole defense sees Shearer and Pride and understands the plays as they're coming.
2nd down, about 8 yards to go. St. Xavier would love to pin the Cardinals back with 6:06 remaining in this quarter. Handoff underneath, and Shearer is again dropped on the line of scrimmage. Kevin Davis, Darth Vader there,
I'll tell you,
along with number 53, Louis Miller, making the stop.
You'll see on the replay here, as Shearer goes through, Louis Miller just comes right over and makes a great tackle. You know, it's great to see a senior like Louis Miller step up like this. He's having a great game. He's blocking his hole. He's staying in his area. He's really coming up.
3rd down and about 7, and right now the St. Xavier Bombers have doubled the offensive output of the Colerain Cardinals. The Bombers with 83 yards, the Cardinals with 41. Good fake by Pride, gonna run underneath, but he's originally hit by number 52, Kyle Meyer. So Meyer and Miller, the wrestling guys, wrestling down Gary Pride there, and it should be 4th and about 3. 3 and out again, Ralph.
Yeah, again, you're watching Pride, and the defense is seeing what's going on. They've really kind of got their eyes fixed on this option.
Colerain now 0 for 5 on 3rd down conversions. So their 3rd down efficiency 0 for 5. St. Xavier looking to jump there. Boy, they didn't need that, like you said. Milligan not up to get that one. Let's see if he's going to pick it up. He will there, but he eludes one tackler and then gets drilled. Great coverage by the Cardinals there. So kept it in front, perhaps about a 3-yard return, and St. Xavier will start 1st and 10 from their 40. This is where they've been averaging, because of the fumble, their average starts about the 40-yard line, and you got to love that.
They started the last series from the 40-yard line, so we'll see what happens this time. They had really good, with the break of 1 penalty last series, they really had some good ball movement.
Well, I think the other thing that the Bombers need is they would like that second score with 4:37 remaining here, because the Cardinals will receive to begin action in the 3rd quarter, as they deferred after they won that opening toss. Right up the middle will be number 8, Darius Ashley, the freshman.
And he actually hit, and he dragged a couple guys with him for 2 yards. So that tells you a little about the power that he's got besides the speed.
Cabrani Mixon in on that stop. That's his 4th assist. Ralph, he's made 3 solo tackles. That man's been in on 7 tackles already in less than 1/2. You wonder why Michigan wants him so bad.
There's a reason that he's going to be playing at Michigan next year.
He really sees the field well, because these St. Xavier backs are very, very, very quick. They're coming quick. Nice pass. Did he hang on?
I believe
nope,
he dropped
they're going to
it.
say he juggled it. So McFarland went down. I think Matthew McFarland, as the year goes on, might become one of those weapons that St. Xavier is going to have to depend on a little bit more due to the injuries, and that's going to make it about 3rd and 7. More importantly, Bombers have not run very much time off the clock here, as this drive seems to be not able to get off. 2 straight incomplete passes for Brad Shearer.
Well, they're not going to have much time to get this play off if they don't get up to the line of scrimmage soon. Seemed like they were having a problem getting the play called in.
Let's see if they come out here to little Dan Milligan, number 4. He's a great possession receiver. Colerain showing blitz inside and outside. Great job blocking. Shear looking, finally gets rid of it. Nothing there. Smart move as the Colerain Cardinal defensive backs just blanketed the St. Xavier receivers. That was textbook by Colerain on defense there, Ralph.
It was an excellent defensive coverage on all the receivers. Shear's the only thing he could do was run the ball, and the linebacker stayed home, so he had nowhere to go. As you said before, the problem is they did not take much time off that clock.
That is just textbook defense there for 3 and out for Colerain, and I think that Colerain's offense gets so much credit, but their defense has been superb. Nice high kick by Milligan. The Bombers are down there on coverage, and after about 4 bouncing arounds, number 47 for St. Xavier, Michael Hickey, finally drops.
And again, I think you had Louis Miller in there again on that tackle. It's amazing. He's got himself around every play defensively so far.
So the Cardinals will begin 1st and 10 at their 29-yard line. They had an excellent first drive where they picked up about 35 yards on that first drive, and since then, Ralph, they've only picked up 11. This St. Xavier defense has really come to play here in the first half. The Cardinals have held the ball for about 11 minutes and 30 seconds. The Bombers about 8:45. Little bit, 3 minutes, 30 seconds left here in the first half. Gary Pride calling out the signals. Fakes it inside, the pitch outside. He's got some room to go. Nice coverage there by number 22, Johnny Salinger. So John Salinger was able to finally wrestle Ravel Sadler to the ground.
You'll see on the replay, this is the first time we've seen that pitch out there, and again, it was just a nice play by the defense to stretch that out. They didn't give him a chance to turn upfield and use his speed to go forward.
Is Sadler the next upcoming great Colerain running back? I noticed he was a sophomore. Checking in is Derek Tabor, number 11. They did bring a tight end in on the last play. The Cardinals have yet to show that formation, but we know that Pride threw at Roger Bacon last year, so this may be an added weapon into what is already a difficult offense to start. Indeed, Pride does go back to pass and dropped on the play by number 13, Nick Schneider, and number 5, Alex Albright. I thought we might get a hold there.
Well, we should have got a hold because they spun the Bomber all the way around. Let's see if we see it on the replay. As he rolls out, you'll see a Bomber defender come by, and somebody just spun. There it is, right there. Spin him around.
Yep.
Oh, well.
Be 3rd and about 8. Pride's a little bit tricky there, a little left-hander. I think some people who may not have seen the scrimmages, he operates almost as if he's a right-hander, and then he wheels that shoulder back. So the Cardinals here so far are 0 for 5 on 3rd down efficiency. Their fans are trying to will them to
action. That might be a delay of game because the flag came from the back judge.
Let's see what's going to happen here. It is going to be a delay of game. You're exactly right, and that's going to make it 3rd down and 11.
Whenever you see that back official throw the flag, before a play or right at the snap, you can almost be assured it's a delay of game.
The St. Xavier Bombers so far have played very, very well in this first half. They looked a little intimidated in that first drive. They were able to hang on, not let Colerain score. They got the fumble recovery. They pushed 7 points in. And so St. Xavier ahead here 7-0, 3rd and 11. The Cardinals now penalized for 20 yards. That's their second penalty. The Bombers have 2 penalties. They've been penalized for 10. And I think Colerain may be taking a timeout here.
Well, their play changes from being 3rd and 6. We're now at 3rd and 11 with that penalty. So that's going to take. That's going to make them kind of switch the game plan a little. They know they want to pick this up. Well, now I'm confused. They've just waved off the flag.
So it was just explained to us that Colerain had called a timeout prior to the play. The sideline official here did not signal to the other officials or blow his whistle, the timeout. The back judge then threw the penalty, and they sorted it out at midfield. So first game here for the officials. They got to get it right. Certainly would have wished the sideline official would have got it right sooner out there, but it seems that they've corrected. And the Cardinals are charged with a timeout. They should have one timeout remaining in the first half. St. Xavier has all 3 of theirs, but this is a much easier play to pick up at 3rd and 6.
St. X has 2 timeouts.
That's right, St.
left.
X has 2 because
1.
I thought, so they'll have to change the scoreboard there. 3rd and about 6, a lot of noise here. Pride coming right. Pride's got a lot of room. Looking to pitch, doesn't pitch, holds it. Let's see where they're going to mark it. It is going to be a first down. So Gary Pride gets it up to about the 40-yard line. So the little mix up there on the penalty that wasn't a penalty, those extra 4 yards definitely helped the Cardinals there.
And Pride knew he only needed 6 yards for the first down, and very smartly just pulled the ball in and went forward to get those 6 yards.
That is the first down of the second quarter for the Colerain Cardinals. The Bombers picked up 4 first downs in that first quarter, and Colerain now on the positive side for yardage in the second quarter. There's just nowhere to go for Shear right now. You always have to worry about him busting the big one, but number 53, Louis Miller.
And on the tackle again, I'll tell you what, you had Louis Miller and you had Alex Albright, 2 of St. X's tops on that one.
And it looks like, Ralph, the Cardinals here are going to take this clock right down and either score with a few seconds left to go, not leave St. Xavier anything, or they're confident enough to go in down by 7, and I'm sure Kerry Combs will give them a motivational speech at halftime to bring them out fired up in the third quarter. About 1:12 left to go. Pride looking to go right. There's the pitch. Shear's got the pitch, and St. Xavier, important for the Bombers to keep them in bounds. If you notice, they're not driving those running backs out of bounds. They're keeping that clock rolling.
Yeah, they are. That was a really good play by Fagel. Fagel came up, made a really good open field tackle on Shear as he started to go north. That was a great play by Fagel to make that stop.
3rd down and about 5. The Bombers have outgained the Cardinals so far in the second quarter. They've also had 4 first downs to the Cardinals 1. Now, should they stop him here, will Steve Speck call a timeout and make him punt, or will he just go in with the lead? Pride looking to go deep. One-on-one coverage. Intercepted. A great job. Now he needs 1 block to get down that sideline.
If he gets out of bounds, there it is.
Couldn't get it, but he got out of bounds. The St. Xavier Bombers almost set up that picket fence on the interception there, and they're in great field position at the Colerain 48-yard line.
Now, the clock would have stopped anyway on a change of possession in high school, but he got out of bounds. He got up over the 50. You've got 24 seconds left with 2 timeouts for the Bombers.
Pride throws a great ball here, and if I'm not mistaken, that's number 30 for St. Xavier, Brad Brookbank, who really read that one right. It looked like he was going to be beaten on the play, and then Brookbank brought that puppy back 32 yards, and St. Xavier finds themselves on the Colerain 48. The Bombers need here, Ralph, about maybe a 20-yard pickup, and here we go again. Equipment problems. The Crusaders complained about this last year, as did Elder in the first game. That seemed whenever Colerain needed a little time to get things organized, they had an equipment problem.
It's one of those things.
That's a different player, though. It's one of those things that just happens in the game. So, but I know Moeller was very upset about that 2 years, as was Elder last year. But hey, let's keep the kids safe. Let's make sure of that. Let's see how Brad Shearer can clear it out here, and if the Cardinals are going to bring a lot of people. Milligan underneath us, and yes, blitz coming. St. Xavier picks it up. They're going to get it out to Ashley. He needs a block. He got 1. Couldn't get the second one. Darius Ashley has the ball ripped out of bounds on about the 40-yard line, and that'll stop the clock. Pickup of about, we'll call it 7 or 8 on the play. 2nd down, about 3 to go. Let's see where they block it there. So 8 yards on the play for the Bombers.
It's a nice quick.
17 seconds remaining. I think the St. Xavier needs to get to about the 25-yard line for a field goal attempt by Danny Milligan. So let's see what they're going to do here. That play took a little while to get going.
They've still got 2 timeouts left.
Shear fakes the handoff inside, facing a lot of coverage. He's going to throw it out of bounds. Seth Robinson not there. Perhaps if it had been a little closer to Seth, maybe they could have got a call there, but not close to him. Now it's going to be about 3rd and 3 with 11 seconds left to go. I know that, well, I haven't seen it yet. Brandon Bird will check into the lineup at wide receiver, but I know in practice Milligan's put him in up to about 45 yards. course, that's a lot different than real game activity. So
it is. I think if they can get the ball to the 25-yard line, he's got a chance. But again, as you said,
wow, handoff underneath.
That's okay. Coach Speck just wants to go in up one touchdown.
I think he just wants to go in up one, and that should be what they do unless Colerain calls a timeout. That's the end of the first half, and the Colerain Cardinals, for the first time in over a year, find themselves heading to the locker room down 7-0. The Bomber fans are up and cheering as they go off, and I noticed the Colerain coaching staff telling their players to get their heads up. These guys look a little deflated right now, and the coach trying to pump them up here at halftime.
This is the kind of game we were hoping for. We talked about that we probably would see, and we have seen. This has just been an unbelievable football game for this early in the season.
We're going to take a little break here at the conclusion of this first half. When we come back, we'll give you all the first half statistics, and we're hoping you'll continue to watch us here as the St. Xavier Bombers take a 7-0 lead here at halftime at University of Cincinnati's Nippert Stadium.
There are many kinds of heroes. Some are celebrated, and some, like the Shriners, are less well known.
I see them in the parade, and I feel like saluting the entire organization.
Shriners Hospitals provide world-class orthopedic and burn medical care to kids totally free of charge. Call this number for more information. Shriners, having fun and helping kids right here in the Cincinnati area.
Who is Waycross Community Media? Waycross provides public, educational, and government access to the communities and its residents of Forest Park, Green Hills, and Springfield Township. Programs shown on Waycross are produced, directed, announced, and run by people just like you. To get involved, call Waycross Community Media at 825-2429 or check us out on the web at www.waycross.org.
We're back at University of Cincinnati, the Nippert Stadium, where the St. Xavier Bombers have a 7-0 lead over the Colerain Cardinals. The Cardinal band is finishing their routine on the field, and head coach Kerry Combs has held his Cardinals in the locker room a little bit longer as the Cardinals find themselves behind for the first time. A great day here at the University of Cincinnati, a great day for high school football, but for the St. Xavier community, some bittersweet memories from this summer. Lance Corporal Michael Cifuentes and Corporal David Kruder, serving their country in Iraq, killed in action. And so the Bombers have held memorials. We want to take this opportunity to thank all the schools and all the people who have sent us messages at St. Xavier High School in supporting our community and these young men and their families for making the ultimate sacrifice for their country. I'm sure you'll be hearing more about all the men and women who are fighting in Iraq throughout this country as high schools around the nation are facing up to what's happening over there. We at St. Xavier, again, want to thank all those who have helped us in supporting the families of our fallen soldiers. And Ralph, back here to this game, head coach Steve Speck with a very young Bomber squad finds themselves 7-0, and they're looking great.
Dave, they are, and we talked in the beginning that some of the keys, one of the keys for St. X was they had to be ahead. They had to be up by 1 or 2 scores in order to force Colerain to change their game plan a little bit. They're up a score at halftime at 7-0, and I think that has been key to the game. The other key is the St. X defense has keyed themselves on Shear. They've stopped him and put all of their cards on Shear. So far, that's worked. We'll see what Colerain does to change that as they come out the second half.
Gary Pride did try to go to the air a few times, but the interception there by Brad Brookbank worked in the St. Xavier Bombers' favor. One fumble for the Cardinals, one fumble for the Bombers, and the Bombers looking there, maybe taking that 2-score lead, Ralph. The one thing that happened in the second quarter for St. Xavier is statistically they dominated that second quarter.
They did. As I said earlier, I think what happened, in my opinion, it seemed like St. X came out nervous and a bit excited. They're playing the 8th-ranked team in the nation. They're a young team. They're starting 2 sophomore linebackers. They've got a sophomore running back in Darius Ashley. I think they were a bit nervous and confused coming out. I think once they realized that they could actually make the plays and do what had to be done, it was a different St. X team.
Well, what I want to look forward here in the third quarter is let's see what head coach Kerry Combs has done to change perhaps the way the Colerain Cardinals are working, or if he's just going to get better execution out of his system that has worked very, very well over the years. We know he's a great motivator. We know that he's a tremendous defensive coach. And quite frankly, you know, when we talk about St. X having a better statistical quarter, we're not talking about the Bombers rolling up huge numbers here. Neither offense has really put a lot of yardage and certainly not a lot of points on the board, but we expected this to be a tight defensive game unless some fumbles or interceptions really turn that score around.
We did, and the last 2 drives in the second half by St. X, Colerain stopped. The second last drive was stopped by a fumble on a tackle by Mixon, and then the last drive was just 3 and out by the Bombers. So Colerain has done a good job getting themselves back and focused on defense. And as we said earlier, this is going to be a defensive game.
Absolutely. Now, what will also be interesting is to see how the Colerain faithful respond to the Cardinals here in the second half. We're not sure, but I do believe that they were never behind at halftime last year, and very rarely were they even challenged by the time the halftime came up. So this is a different position for them, but one thing about great programs, and Colerain, make no doubt about it, is a great program. St. Xavier is a great program. These teams know how to win. Tradition teaches you that, and I think we're going to see some of that rising to the top here in the second half, Ralph.
I agree with you, and I think one of the things you have to realize is with this Colerain team, we talk about they were never down last year going in at halftime. I think they were only down once all year at one point. But this is a different team. It's
right.
A new team. These guys really don't remember that because most of the team didn't play on a regular basis. They were backups. They were the second team. All they know is they can win. And that's a scary thing for St. X because this Colerain team knows they can win. And if the Bombers can't come out and if they can't make some stops early on, this Colerain team is going to know they can win, and they'll win.
Right, and that's exactly what St. Xavier needs, perhaps, to get that extra score or to keep this team intact. The Bombers have got to play with a lot of enthusiasm, momentum, and having the lead helps that. This is the young sophomore kicker, Danny Milligan. He put it in the end zone last time. Looks like he snagged the tee that time, and this will be a return for the Cardinals from about the 11-yard line. An original fumble, but then a huge hole, and that's why you want to put it in the end zone because the Cardinals are out to the 36-yard line before Joe Reese drops Kyle Lumpkin.
And you'll see on this replay, he almost goes down and doesn't. Lumpkin picks it up, and there's a huge hole as he gets past his wedge there. Luckily, Joe Reese is able to come up and stop him on his 35-yard line.
And you saw the speed there by Kyle Lumpkin on that 29-yard return. He was one man away from breaking it, and that's why we said we always like it in the end zone. Shear breaks a tackle inside, then runs it off of the tackle out to about the 40-yard line. Colerain snappy, Ralph, just like they were on the first drive here.
They are, and Shear went a little wider than he has been going on that play. I think the Bombers are going to have to readjust where they're at. They'll probably start playing outside shoulder instead of inside shoulder if the Cardinals are going to take it wide.
16 carries for Shear for 50 yards. So he's piling up the numbers. St. Xavier wants him to carry that ball a lot of times. They do not want him to have like one rush for 50 yards. What a great play there by the Bomber defense. Gary Pride got hit behind the line of scrimmage, and Frank Moran came up to make a solo tackle on Kyle Lumpkin.
And I'll
watch
tell you,
this replay
watch
here.
the replay. Watch Selinger. Watch 22 come over, because he's the one who actually forces the runner over. That was a great defensive play. He filled that hole and forced him out wide, and that's what really made that play.
What I'm impressed with right now, Ralph, is the way that these single tackles, these solo tackles are being made. One-on-one, fast running backs, guys who got a lot of speed, and the Bombers are up to the task. There's a reverse heading the other way, and let's see where they're going to mark his knee. Let's see where they're going to mark it. It looks like they're going to... There was a loose ball. Let's see where it... Boy, they're going to have to unpile this thing and decide what's going to happen here.
The line judge has got his foot about a yard north of a first down.
Whoa. The St. Xavier coaching staff did not like that call there, as Kyle Lumpkin on the run here. Meyer's going to make the first hit. See, then there's the loose ball. The ball was out, and I guess, so depending where that mark occurred, it's a first down for the Cardinals. So Lumpkin gets it down to the Cardinal 45-yard line. 1st and 10. Cardinals going to pitch outside, and Ralph, right now they're not hammering it up the middle. Pride has pitched 3 straight times, and that's something he did not do in the first half.
Yes, they're going to the pitch now, and what they want to do, and you'll see on this, they fake inside and Pride pitches right away to Lumpkin. What they want to do is they want to start getting 4 and 5 yards from Lumpkin on the pitch, because then he'll start giving it back inside to Shearer.
That's a 4-yard pickup there, so Lumpkin now has carried the ball 4 times for 13 yards, and this Cardinal offense, just like it did the first time they had the ball, really looks snappy here. Xavier defense trying to come through, and right there, number 53, Lou Miller. He is shooting the gaps. Now, either he really is reading the quarterback, or he's having a heck of a poker day, because Ralph, he's there for the handoff almost.
I'll tell you, I think Lou Miller is just stepping up to the plate. He's a senior this year. He wants to prove that St. X can play with this Colerain team. There was a lot of people early on that said, hey, if you can stay close, that'd be good. And for a guy like Lou Miller, that's not going to be good enough.
Cabrani Mixon, we mentioned he was in on 7 tackles. Lou Miller's been in on 9, 2 solos and 7 assists. Handoff inside. Joe Reese with the initial stick. Also Nick Schneider,
Reese
the
and
sophomore.
Schneider.
Kevin Davis, number 91, the big senior. I love to call him Darth Davis, because he just wants to take up space in there and really make people force him out. The Cardinals will be faced with 4th and 5. And they're going to punt. I was wondering if they were going to try to go for it with that explosive offense they have. Plenty of time left. Well, Milligan is back for St. Xavier. One thing about playing a lot of sophomores is every coach will tell you always have to wonder about what decisions they're going to make. Milligan so far has made solid ones. I think he's going to let this one just bounce, because he can't get there, and that's a smart move by number 4, Danny Milligan. That punt will go out of bounds on about the 17-yard line, so that'll be about a 33-yard punt for number 10, Matthew Schulte. And so far, punting and kicking for both teams has been very adequate.
It has. It's been very good for both teams. They're doing what they need to do with their kicking game. We haven't had the chance for any field goals. We haven't seen that side of this yet. This is a big test for Colerain here to see if they can stop St. X.
This is a big test for the Bombers. So as we said, the 33-yard punt by Schulte got the job done, got the Bombers pinned back on their 17. St. Xavier, if this is going to be a field possession game, they want Colerain to always have to go 70 yards or more. Taking a lot of time here. Sione's back in the lineup for the Bombers after having the wind knocked out of him. And the handoff's going to go to Sione. And man, they just blitz that hole. That's number 45, Calvin Dixon. We've called Dixon's name quite a bit today, as Dixon shot through there. He saw what was coming, and that's a loss of 2 for Chris Sione.
They were key, and they knew Sione was back in the game. They were looking for him on that first play, and they played that right.
The Bombers are having trouble running to both sides of the field from their scrimmages and a couple of the things that we've seen. They seem to run in spurts, Ralph. They either can just take it 90 yards and look great, or it's 3 and out, and they're going to have to build some consistency. Faking the blitz, faking the handoff. He's got some room to run. He's going to pass. going to be whistled out of bounds as McFarland just ran out of sideline there. I thought Shearer had some room to run there with Seth Robinson, the tight end, out in front of him, but he saw McFarland had broken open, but just ran out of sideline. Big 3rd down and 12 play as St. Xavier is deep in their own territory on their 15-yard line.
Yeah, I really thought Shearer was going to tuck it and run. I think he probably could have picked up a couple yards, but he was pretty deep in his backfield, so he probably would only picked up 2 or 3 yards, and I think he really wanted to get the ball out a little further.
The Colerain faithful sensing that this could be a huge play. Field position, etc. The Bombers double wideouts, double backs. Colerain bringing 2 blitzers. St. Xavier picks it up. Sione on the sideline. He steps out of bounds on about the 18. So I think Chris had room on the sidelines, but may not have known how close he was, and that's why he couldn't pick up that extra 5 or 6. It was a well-thrown ball.
Yeah, let's look at the replay here. I'm not sure if he went too close to the sideline or if the ball took him that way.
So number 4, Danny Milligan, who's done a good job punting so far, will be back to punt for the Bombers. Colerain with 2 men back. They need a good snap here out of number 44. Patrick Howell, nice snap back. Milligan's kick, not too high. Caught on about the 45 on a sprint, and then the Bombers able to drop him. But now the Cardinals only have to go 35, Ralph, and you're almost putting your defense in an impassable situation.
Yeah, that was not a good kick by Milligan that time. It was a low line drive kick, not very far at all, and it did not give the St. X a lot of time to get down there and make some coverage deep.
The Cardinal faithful who are here, they sense that they really have to help this team get back in the game. St. Xavier now with an equipment problem, as they're going to work over here on number 31, Frank Moran. So the Cardinal faithful, they want to score here. How big would a turnover for St. Xavier be at this point if they could force another bad pitch or a fumble?
This would be a nice time for another fumble if you're a St. X Bomber fan, that's for sure.
So the Cardinals will start 1st and 10 at the St. Xavier 35-yard line. This is their best field position so far in the game.
You can hear
starting a drive.
You can hear the Colerain faithful booing underneath us because of the equipment timeout here.
Long delay here. So this is the first time the Cardinals have started past midfield. St. Xavier started on their 17-yard line. The Colerain average starting on the St. Xavier 35. Fake handoff inside. Lumpkin, second handoff. And there's a host of Bombers there to meet him, including Reese, Meyer, Miller, Fagel. Just a ton of Bombers. And I'm not sure who was all the way down underneath, but I think that was number 13, Nick Schneider. Pickup of about 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. This is 4-down territory for the Cardinals.
It's definitely 4-down territory. And that was a counter play. A fake to Shearer and then a counter back to Lumpkin, which we saw early on in the first quarter, I believe it was.
Seems like the Cardinals now are starting to mix it up a little bit. They're using their motion, their counter. Shearer on the quick hitter. Good drive there by St. Xavier to get underneath as Shearer pulls it out for a few yards down to about the 30, maybe the 29. There's a St. Xavier Bomber on the field, and we're going to have an official's timeout as Nick Schneider took a little bit of a stinger there. 3rd and about 5.
That was a nice play by the Bombers on that, because Shearer had a nice big hole, and he was out 5 yards, but they were able to open field tackle him at that point. Otherwise, he had a lot of room to maneuver. Showed a little bit of quickness by that defense. That they've been doing a good job, but that was probably one of the quickest closes I've seen by the defense so far.
Shearer's got 19 rushes for 55 yards in the game. Pride 7 for 15. Lumpkin 5 for 15. Ravel Sadler and Rico Booker also rushing for the Cardinals. And right now the Colerain Cardinals have run 34 plays, 83 yards offensively for the Cardinals. The Bombers have run 27 and they've got 97. And this is an important 3rd and 5 here.
And again, the stats tell us that Colerain's controlling the clock, and that's not good for the St. X team.
Not at all. The Cardinals with about 3 minutes, 42 seconds here in the 3rd quarter. They've put 21 yards on the board. The Bombers have -2. Lumpkin does not get the first down, and it'll be 4th down and about 2, and Kerry Combs is now faced with a decision. He's got a good kicker. Is he going to go for 3, or is he going to go for the first down here at 4th down and about, we're going to call it about 2.5. I think he's going to go for it because this would be.
They're going for it. They're signaling the play from the sideline, so they're going to go after
about
it.
A 44-yard field goal, so they're going to go after it here. Let's hope the Bombers don't jump offside. You can call it a short 3 or a long 2, however you want to look at it. Looked like there was motion on that line.
And he didn't get it, Dave.
He didn't get it. Pride, I think, wanted to pull it out after he originally stuffed it into Shear, as a host of Bombers were there. And Ralph, it looked like the right side of the Colerain line jumped on the far outside. Now watch this. See, it looks like Pride wants to pull that ball back out of there, and he and Shear just had a little bit of a problem. And that was very similar to the Moeller scrimmage. Now the St. Xavier offense needs to come to life. They need to move this ball. So the Cardinals, it's the first time they've missed a 4th down efficiency, and that drops them to 2 out of 3. They were 2 for 2 in that first half. Big play for the Bombers. Sione's going to stretch it outside, and that's a nice pickup for the Bombers on that far sideline.
Dave, that was a nice play because that's probably a pickup of close to 5 yards. And what you saw was an offensive line that really took the Colerain Cardinals downfield. They took them out and they took them down. I think I'm bad. I think it was a pickup of about 4. But that was just a great play by that offensive line.
Well, the Bombers have been having a difficult time. They're getting the original block, but then these linebackers and DBs have been reading the offensive play as well. And so Sione has not been able to break anything so far up the middle. Very similar to the Moeller game. See there, Sione again gets that original breakthrough, but then these DBs are so fast, he doesn't get like that 4th or 5th yard. I mean, we'll take 4 yards, but now it's that 3rd and 1 call, and with this small offensive line, they're going to have to hope they can hunker down and blow them off, because this is a critical first down for St. Xavier. They need to give their defense a rest, and they need to get a first down, and really, they need to get the momentum back in this game. The Cardinals came out of the locker room, grabbed that kickoff, and they've had the momentum so far. Good block by the center, could free Shear up here. Shear may have went the wrong way, but he did slide under. Let's see where they mark it.
I think the line judge is going to mark it far enough up for a first down. It looks from here.
Yep, they're moving the signal. So Shear went left. I thought he was going to go right. And that's what we talked about, the athleticism of a Brad Shear who can pick up that first down. He just runs right over his center, and then watch those legs keep moving, moving, moving. And actually, I think it was Cobrani Mixon who was sort of moving the line kind of on a left flank move that threw him for the first down.
The St. X line was able to get a yard out, but that was all they were able to get because that Colerain defense just stopped them dead.
Handoff inside to Sione. Oh, he got tripped. Chris Sione had a nice hole there blown open by his center and guards, and somebody just threw an arm out, and that's a great tackle. Watch this open up here, Ralph, from on top.
It's a huge hole that opens up, and as you
Look
say,
at that.
actually he trips over his own lineman's foot. Otherwise, he's probably going to break it downfield for a good 30-yard gain.
Now that might be something, though, that when the coaches look at that, that's the play St. Xavier's actually been trying to get moving. And again, just like in the first half, the Bombers, after that first series, calming down here a little bit, starting to pick up some yardage. Fake to Ashley. Great pass
wide
to the
open
tight end, Seth Robinson. Put it in, Seth. Seth held that ball out there, but he got it over the 46-yard line. And that's a big pickup for St. Xavier as they go from their 38 to about the Colerain 46-yard line.
Here's the replay. You see the fake to Darius Ashley, and you see the block come out. And Seth is wide open for the catch.
And Ralph, you remember Seth Robinson was a quarterback or a fullback, so a 12-yard pickup there for the Bombers on that play to Robinson that gets it out to about the Colerain 46-yard line. First down, Bombers. That's the 7th one. St. Xavier leads in that quarter 7-5. Little bit of a mix-up between Shear and Sione in the backfield, and that's on number 33. Cobrani Mixon needed to drop Sione for a loss.
And again, you have to like watching Cobrani Mixon play ball. that tackle of Sione, he had both arms around him, shoulders on him. There was nothing Sione could do to get away from him.
Chris Sione, 13 carries, 24 yards. Brad Shearer, 3 for 12. Matt McFarland, 1 for 9. Jimmy Hobson's carried the ball twice for 9 yards, and Darius Ashley has picked up 4 for 3. Mixon now with 4 solo tackles, 5 assisted tackles, and he's plugging up the middle wonderfully for the Colerain Cardinals, and another helmet problem here for St. Xavier. So the Bombers with about 123 yards on 33 plays. The Cardinals with 85 yards on 36. Ralph, this is just great defense by both teams. And yet you would act like people here, this is just a great game. There's such an energy here. 7th play of this drive for St. Xavier. That's good. They're taking time off that clock. Shearer's in a ton of trouble, and he's just drilled. Brad Shearer couldn't go left, couldn't go right, couldn't go middle. The Cardinals brought everybody, and now St. X 3rd down and about a bundle.
Well, the problem was they brought 2 linebackers in on a blitz there, and one wasn't picked up by the line. The other one, the lineman missed his block completely, and Shearer had nowhere to go. It was very poor play by the offensive line on that one. Missing the coming linebacker, and then the block that was missed also.
Who's really been stepping up for Colerain is number 45, Calvin Dixon. Dixon has been down on that line, and he has been the guy just firing them up, and you know, he was in on that play. He's done a great job. Let's see if the Bombers try to get a few. Here come the Cardinals. Blitz from the outside. Shearer's in trouble. Got it off.
He did get it off.
Great job again. Great athleticism by Shearer. And I'll tell you what, these Colerain Cardinal fans starting to sound like St. Xavier and Elder fans, as they are just really coming alive, trying to will this team to victory.
I'll tell you,
a good job there by the Bombers, though, to get it deep out of their own territory and let Danny Milligan punt here.
You'll see on the replay, this is a good, Darius Ashley made a great block on a blitzing linebacker, but again, there was too many guys that got through.
Mega
great
high snap,
play
but
by
what
Milligan.
a play by Milligan. Fair catch called for, and Darius Ashley will down it on the 27-yard line. Smart play on both sides, but wow. A sophomore to reach up, grab it, be able to plant, and then get that kick off. Dan Milligan, number 4, playing huge. 28-yard punt. More importantly, he didn't let it sail over his head.
And it wasn't straight over his head either. It was to one side. He had to jump to the side and up to get that ball, Dave. It was a really good play, again, by a sophomore, a heads-up play.
Superb play by Milligan. Cardinals going to start from their 27-yard line. The Bombers stopped them last time. First drive, Cardinals look pretty good here in the 3rd quarter. St. Xavier mixing the linebackers a little bit. Pride going to run out, and there's nowhere for him to go, as Gary Pride originally hit behind the line of scrimmage by Freddie Craig, and Freddie's down on the ground there, Ralph. That's not good for Freddie. And then Joe Reese finished off the tackle, but it looked like somebody may have fallen on the back of Freddie's leg there. He got through, made the original hit. Then Reese, Salinger, Davis.
Well, the problem was Reese fell on the back of his legs because one of our guys hit Reese.
Right.
I mean, everybody was in on the tackle, but everybody was hitting the same guys.
2nd down and about 10 yards to go. Freddie Craig is the injured Bomber on the field. Ralph, we've got 1:23 left to go here in the 3rd quarter. It's 7-0 St. Xavier. Our idea, the Bombers getting 2-score lead, you know, certainly would put them in the driver's seat at this point, but both defenses, we said this would be a defensive struggle, and wow, are they playing great.
They really are, and I'll tell you, you look at this second half, the start of this second half really resembles the start of the first half, I think. It's the same thing. Colerain came out, they took charge. The Bombers looked a little tentative. The Bombers started moving the ball a little. It's a mirror image of that first half. The only thing we haven't seen yet is a fumble.
Craig's walking a little gingerly. We'll have to see if he'll be able to come back. Colerain basically has been starting about their 32-yard line this half. St. Xavier starting on about their 38. Again, that field position game that Coach Speck wanted to play, working pretty evenly here in the second half.
Well, after watching Craig play last year, I'd be very surprised if he wasn't back out on the field in a couple plays.
Well, we said it. Both teams said they had some guys banged up. St. Xavier has already lost 3 of their seniors. 2 of them for the season. One may be able to come back later, but anybody who can get out on that field, they're going to get out on a game like this, because this is what high school football is all about. Lumpkin, who's seen a lot of carries here. Pride going to roll out. Pride's got some movement there with Connor Smith with him, but Joe Reese slides across to make the play, and another bomber, number 13, Nick Schneider, is down on the play, and it looks like it just may be a leg cramp there as they're working on Nick Schneider.
You'll see on the replay where Schneider goes out after him, and I'm trying to see what happened.
Looks like a leg cramp because they've got the leg up and they're already rubbing it and pushing on it. So great job there by Colerain trainers, because they were right there before the St. Xavier trainers could come all the way across the field. And you know, that's one of the great things about high school sports, the way the trainers and the staff all work together, and just to try to protect these kids as much as they can. And I'll tell you, the Colerain folk were right on top of that. The coaches cleared the area out. St. Xavier, when an injury happens on their sideline, the Bombers all put their finger up in the air, as do the Bomber players, trying to be one in unity with the player who's down, and Freddie Craig's still there. To show you how good these defenses are, Ralph, St. Xavier 3 of 9 on 3rd down conversions, Colerain 2 of 10. And these are 2 pretty good offensive football teams. I mean, we're not talking here about people who don't move the ball.
No, I mean, both these teams are moving the ball. They've got some good plays that they've been running. So, yeah, it is a tribute to the defense. Now, most of the time you assume the defense is going to be the best early on, because offenses are still trying to get some timing down. But this has really been a great defensive game.
It has. 3rd down. We're looking at about 4 yards to go. The Cardinals are on their own 33-yard line. It seems the Colerain's opened up the running attack a little bit, a little more pitching, bringing Pride outside. I think that they're starting to wear the Bombers down a little bit. The Bombers have been doing a lot of great chasing. They've been filling the holes. They've been holding this team to a low yardage. But in heat like this, and with the size of that Colerain line, especially those Bomber linemen, have to be getting a little tired.
Oh, they do. And Colerain's had the ball 20 minutes compared to 14 for the Bombers. So, you know, the defense has been out there. And really the last play, when Pride came out wide, Connor Smith pulled.
Yes, he did.
Connor Smith is listed at 6'5", 300 pounds. But the reason he's going to Ohio State is because he pulled and he led Pride. Pride was running. He wasn't just walking behind him. He was running. And I'll tell you what, Smith was right out there.
We've seen now 2 great linemen, Bone last year from Cleveland St. Edwards, and now Connor Smith here for Colerain. And I think sometimes people in the audience don't understand how big players are today. And you and I talked about this last year, that what a great job the strength coaches and the parents and the nutritionists and everybody has to do to keep these kids, you know, from being injured, because it's just one heck of a job that they're doing, keeping these kids, you know, healthy and on the field. Now this is starting to take a little bit longer now. Freddie Craig is sitting up, or correct?
Yeah, he is sitting up.
Yeah, he is. Now he's standing. Actually, correction, that's Nick Schneider. It was Freddie Craig on the last play. And Schneider's really walking gingerly on that right leg. Oh, well, as soon as I say that, what's he start to do? He starts to flex it a little bit and walk on a little. And I'll tell you, these are tough kids, because like you said, when you got a 300-pounder who's pulling and putting a block on you, and you're trying to chase down a fast quarterback, that's just raw courage.
And it looks like he's favoring that ankle to me, but from up here it's hard to tell. He's up on his feet. He's walking off the field. That's what everybody has to be happy about.
3rd down and about 4. And I'll tell you, this is a play that Colerain is almost automatic on, but the Bombers have really made them work today. They're 2 for 10.
And again, if you talk about momentum, this is one the Bombers need to get if they want to get the ball back and kind of stop Colerain's momentum a little bit.
Long count here. Handoff inside.
There's a counter. What a great play.
A ton of Bombers there. And the one who's not going to get credit until we say it is number 51, Mike Hanlon. He was down on the bottom down there, the linebacker, the 225-pound junior. And Ralph, he held everybody up. He got to Lumpkin, he held the line, and then till the other Bombers could come in, number 52, Kyle Meyer. Now, So Colerain's going to have to punt here. The Cardinals have punted 3 times in the game for 115 yards. That's about a 38.3 yard average. The Bombers, on the other hand, have punted 5 times for 146. And Danny Milligan's average has gone down to 29.2 because he had that high snap on that last punt, and he had to put one out of bounds. Ralph, it seems to be that early season thing. Electrolytes, cramping, you know, the need for the potassium, and it's hot out here, and this is going to happen to these kids. Meyer, he's a wrestler. He's a tough kid. So if he's on his back, you know something's going on.
Well, what you've got, Dave, is these guys have gone through conditioning. They've gone through 2-a-days. They've gone through 2 scrimmages, but none of that is game situation. You can do 2-a-days and you can condition all you want, but until you play 4 quarters of football and you're playing at 110% intensity every single play, it's not the same. And you're right, it's the beginning of the season. You're going to see these cramps, guys go down constantly because of that.
And, you know, scrimmages, as much as coaches, you know, love them, they want to get their guys in, it's one of those things where, as you said, it's not 4 quarters, and you're not going to play your starters 4 quarters. So now that they're here, this is when those muscles really begin to get, you know, a real workout. We know that in cross country, trying to take the guys through an 11-week season, assuming that you make it all the way to the state. You know, so we'll have to see how that goes. But, boy, what an atmosphere here for today's game.
It turned out to be a beautiful day now. The sun's out, which is baking the field, making it hotter for these guys. But what a beautiful day it turned out to be.
So Matthew Schulte will punt. Oh, man, he's gotten off a beauty there. Milligan's going to have to go way back. Takes it on about his 15. If I'm Danny, I cut to the sidelines. I'll tell you what, there was just nothing there. Brian Lanehart laid him out. If I'm Milligan, I cut to the sidelines, get my 2 yards, and get out of bounds.
Well, I'll tell you, this was a great Willie Mays catch. I will give him that much. But there was nowhere to go once he caught it.
Here's a young man, Dan Milligan, a 5'7", 150-pound sophomore who took that 53-yard punt. Yes, you heard me right. 53 yards by Matthew Schulte. So he's done his job as the senior. He's backed the St. Xavier Bombers up. There's 31 seconds left to go in the 3rd quarter. And if St. Xavier ever needed to get about 30 yards, it might be right now, because they do not want to give Colerain a short field again. Oh, the Cardinals knew that was coming, Ralph. St. Xavier did that last time. They went out wide to the left, and Colerain had everybody out there on Sione.
Yeah, they were looking for that play. That's the one that we talked about early in the quarter, where the offense just took everybody out and over, and Colerain was not going to have any part of that this time. And
that may be the last play of the 3rd quarter, as the Colerain Cardinal defense stuffed that one there. We talked a lot about Cabrani Mixon. We also need to mention number 45, Calvin Dixon, who's had 4 solo tackles, all for losses, a minus 12 yards on those, 3 assists, and he's had 1 sack. As we said at the beginning, I thought Dixon was the guy here in the 3rd quarter who's fired this team up. The Bombers have the number 4 in the air, which means we're going to the 4th quarter. St. Xavier holding on to a 7-0 lead. The momentum has shifted slightly towards the Colerain Cardinals, but with 2nd and 10, the Bombers are going to have to move the ball. And Ralph, your ideas here on these first 3 quarters and what to look forward to in the 4th.
Well, again, Colerain is controlling the plays. They're controlling the time on the field. They're controlling possession. They've got 21 minutes to the Bombers 14. So far this 2nd half, they've put the Bombers in a hole every time they've gotten the ball. The Bombers, X needs to get that ball out. They need a drive here, really, to kind of get themselves mentally back into the game. I think if they go 3 and out this one, I think mentally X is going to have a hard time getting focused for the 4th quarter.
Well, the hardest thing about that, too, is the defense has been out there a long time. If the offense can just manage to poke it out a little bit, let them get their rest, I think that'll help them. More importantly, it then should be able to open some things up for the coaching staff to see upstairs. So this is definitely that defensive struggle. St. Xavier, 12 plays in that 3rd quarter, Ralph, 23 yards. Colerain, 13 plays, 28 yards. And so what ends up happening is it became that field position game that we talked about in that 53-yard punt by Schulte has definitely put the Cardinals in the better field position. Let's see if the Bomber offense can respond. They haven't done that shovel pass all game yet to Ashley, so there's the draw play. Darius has got speed. He's around the corner. Darius Ashley, one man to beat, and he couldn't get by him.
That is the speed of Darius Ashley.
Henry Lemon saved what could be the touchdown for the Bombers as Ashley breaks it to the 39-yard line, 1st and 10 Bombers.
You'll see this draw up the middle, and he goes from up the middle to the left side and past everybody. You'll see Clyde come in there at the very end. Otherwise, Darius is gone.
That is the longest play of the game. A 24-yard rush by Darius Ashley to the St. Xavier 39-yard line, but it was almost like that was a 100-yard gain for the Bombers, who were really pinned deep. Sione's getting double coverage, Ralph, as they've got him radared in. There's always a linebacker wherever he goes.
They are. They're looking at Sione, and in fact, I think that's what, on that draw to Ashley on the last play, Sione was split wide. He was in the slot, and they were looking at him as he cut across the middle, and they didn't keep an eye on Ashley.
Great seal-off block there by the St. Xavier line. And that's the kind of play where Sione got tripped earlier, otherwise the big gain. I'll tell you what, when a 24-yard gain is the biggest play of the game between Colerain and St. Xavier, you know your defenses are playing well. Hobson's going to get the tough 1 or 2 yards maybe up the middle. As soon as he got the ball, he was smashed on the play by number 45, Calvin Dixon. We said Dixon's having a great game. So, right now at this point in the game, it's St. Xavier 7, Colerain 0. The Bombers have run basically 38 plays for 141 yards. The Cardinals have run 39 for 90. The difference in the game is passing yardage. St. Xavier was 65, Colerain was 0. You heard me, 0. They're 0 for 1 in the air with 1 interception. Not that they throw a lot, but what will happen if St. Xavier gets a 2-score lead here in the 4th quarter? Too much time. The Bombers looked a little perplexed there on that call. Steve Speck's looking a little perplexed too. He's talking to the sideline official, wondering about when that ball was placed down.
Oh, I know what Steve Speck's complaining about. With 5 seconds to go, the back judge is supposed to put his hand up and signal there's 5 seconds to go to delay a game. He did not do that on the last play. And that's what Coach Speck is saying. That is wrong.
Right.
His team should not be charged a timeout because the quarterback's looking for that signal.
Exactly.
The official didn't give it.
And that's why Brad Shearer said he didn't put the signal up in the air, because the Bombers are trying to take 30 seconds off the clock every play. Shearer looking.
To Darius
hits
Ashley.
Ashley bounces off, gets the
And it's a first down.
What a big play! Darius Ashley, the sophomore, number 8. He may only be 170 pounds, but he ran like 300 there.
Now what that does is it takes a big bit of guilt off that back official who didn't do his job the play before. Because as you said, St. X is trying to run the clock down at this point. They're up by a touchdown, and his failure to do his job cost the Bombers the clock running and a play.
It's a 15-yard pickup from Shearer to Ashley. Shearer 7 of 13 for 80 yards, and some of those passes, quite frankly, that were incomplete, he got him off and didn't take a loss. Ashley trying to run left, not much there. He'll pick up maybe 1 or 2, but the clock keeps running.
And again,
and right now the clock is St. Xavier's friend.
I was going to say, what you're seeing here right now is a St. X offense. What they're trying to do is they're trying to make the clock run, keep it running, use the time, because the defensives have been playing so well. Everybody's willing to get their defense back out on the field.
A few substitutions in the game for the Cardinals, including number 21, Jordan Miller, who's a junior linebacker, brings a lot of speed, and we'll see if Jordan's going to be blitzing on this play with a 2nd and 9. The Bombers going to run Ashley. Darius spins off. He'll get down to about the 46-yard line. And so again, St. Xavier choosing to run that clock, Ralph, as it's now going to be about 3rd down, about 6 yards to go on the replay here.
Well, I think the coaching staff is getting a little more at ease with letting the sophomore Ashley run the ball. He's proven he can make the breaks. Besides that, Colerain is king on Sione.
Well,
So
I'd look for Sione on a slant across the middle here. The Colerain put Miller in to guard him, and let's see if he goes on a slant to the outside.
double
Miller's
blitz.
going to come,
Double
picked
blitz.
up. Shearer's got nowhere to go. If he did have somewhere to go, he had Sione wide open on the flat, but unfortunately the right side of the line, or the left side of the line, couldn't pick up the blitz. The right side did.
I'm not sure if Shearer even saw the double blitz coming. I'm really not, because I think he may have just tucked it and gone forward if he knew they were coming.
That's a loss of 7. That's the second sack of the game. Tyler Moeller recording the sack for the Cardinals, but Sione was wide open out there. That's another high snap that Milligan has to pull down. He really held the ball high. Let's see if the Bombers can get a bounce. They will.
Wow.
And it's going to be downed on about the 15-yard line. So young Dan Milligan, the sophomore, has come up huge on the punt there, 38 yards, but more importantly, he got it down on the 14-yard line of the Colerain Cardinals, and St. Xavier leads 7-0. 7's not enough. 10 would make us feel a little more comfortable up here, because we know this offense can score, and we know that they can score on 2-point conversions.
Well, we'll see who comes in on the defense. You have to wonder if Milligan's leg is just a little bit tired given everything he's doing for the team right now.
The Bombers did try to catch up there on time of possession as they held on that time and dropped it to 21
Dave,
minutes to 18. What a great tackle there by St. Xavier.
Again, Louis Miller coming in, making the stop on Shearer, and I mean just covering him like a blanket. You'll see on the replay, he just comes in and he just grabs both arms and chest and takes him down.
Lou Miller may be the defensive player of the week in the city for the output he's putting here today. And he's, if some scouts are looking, they might be looking at Dixon, they might be looking at Moeller, they might be looking at Mixon, but boy, the game he's playing, they'd have to be looking at Miller too. Double wide outs, man coming in motion, Pride on the pitch. Cuts it up underneath, that's Lumpkin, and he's dropped on about the maybe 17, 18-yard line. Let's see where they mark it. Good coverage there by the Bomber defense, and right now Ralph looks like it's going to be 3rd and about 6. This has been a swarming St. Xavier defense. So far they've bended, but they haven't broke. The Bombers 153 yards, the Cardinals 94, and as we said, that time possession on the clock is getting close. Man in the slot, St. Xavier looking to blitz. They do blitz, picked up well by the Cardinals. And the tackle on the play made by number 7, Freddie Craig. That makes Colerain 2 out of 12 on 3rd down conversions. The Bombers are 4 for 11, the Cardinals 2 for 12, no gain on the play. We talked about injuries, but Freddie Craig was right back out there on the field, blitzing.
He's not the kind of guy that you're going to keep off the field for any amount of time.
So the St. Xavier Bombers able to push the Colerain Cardinals 3 and out. Now can Schulte. Great snap, I'll tell you what, all around. He's gotten off another punt, and Milligan's going to take it on about the 40, just go out of bounds and don't fumble the ball upfield.
Whoa,
he just
what
got
a nice
rocked.
hit.
I'll tell you what, a double hit. I think the coaches may be telling Milligan, get out of bounds. We don't need a turnover here,
Tyler
baby.
Moeller just put an absolute hit at the end.
Watch this kick by Schulte, though. It really carries.
Schulte is really punting the ball well, but if you watch, Milligan gets away
here
from a couple, but you'll see,
boom,
right there, what a hit. I'll tell you that. Tyler Moeller just absolutely stuck him with that one.
A 46-yard punt. His last punt was 53. So Schulte's put a foot into the ball here. Sione trying to cut back, and there's just nothing there. You may be able to do that against some other things, but they can't. If you're wondering where we're getting all these great stats from, well, it's from our computer man, Paul Hummel, and our spotter, Paul Niederhausen. Both LaSalle grads, okay? And they'd like to say go X in this ball game. As we said, the GCL sitting on the far sidelines. St. Xavier, Moeller, Elder fans there. And I tell you, we couldn't do what we're doing without Paul and Paul up here. So thank you guys for everything you're doing, and we're definitely glad that you're here with us. 7-0 St. Xavier with 5:17 left to go here in the game. This has been an outstanding high school football game. Shear back to pass. He's got Sione open in the flat. Threw it behind him. 3rd and 12.
He threw it a little behind, and he had a little extra on it, and that was just a little too tough for Sione to bring in. Sione did a great job just turning his body around, really, and getting his hands on the ball.
Now, one thing there, though, the St. Xavier coaches were not afraid to go to the air. You know, they knew they needed to get some yardage. They knew Colerain was putting 8, 9 guys in the box, so they were not afraid to go to the air. But that's that defensive coverage I've talked about. I'm really impressed with this Colerain defense. I know we've been talking a lot about the St. Xavier defense because they're throwing the shutout right now, but this Colerain defense has done a great job this afternoon. 3rd and 12. Shear back to pass, fakes once, fakes twice. He's got to get rid of it. He cannot take a 30-yard loss. He needs to throw it. Smart move by Brad Shear as he throws it away out of bounds. And man, he took a late crunch over there on the sidelines amidst the St. Xavier coaching staff.
One of the coaches is arguing that he was out of bounds when he got hit.
Smart move by Shear there. He was all the way back on his 25-yard line, and you just can't do that. Now we need a good snap. The last 2 have come high. The last 2 have come high. So the Colerain Cardinals here have been shut down effectively in this second half as they've not been able to mount a big drive. We need that good snap from Howe. And there it is, back to Milligan. And he got a chance to get that one off, and he put his foot into it and back to the 25-yard line. That'll be about a 35-yard punt for Milligan. And Colerain will take over 1st and 10 at their own 26-yard line. St. Xavier 7, Colerain 0. Now, Ralph, if our stats are right, and I have no reason to doubt these because we've said this, Colerain's tried 1 pass, which was intercepted. At what point do you think Pride may start to throw? He's got a good arm. He's got some fast receivers. It's just the Cardinals aren't used to running a passing offense.
Well, the problem is they've only got 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go, and you're right. At some point, they're going to have to do something, given the fact that these defenses are so stingy on yards.
1 man in the backfield. This may be the time. No, here's going to come the pitch, and Shearer break it. Oh, he's loose. He's still loose. I think he stepped out of bounds over here, but Shearer finally broke loose before being brought down by Nick Schneider. Tight on this sidelines, and he gets to the 47 of the Bombers. The biggest play from scrimmage for Colerain in the game. It finally worked for him. I think St. Xavier was thinking pass.
Well, what the problem on this play was that they had Shearer going wide with the pitch. He hasn't caught a pitch. He's their inside dive man. St. X was not ready for that play.
That's a 28-yard run by Terrence Shearer. That puts him at 83 yards. The Bombers had him picked up, and now this Colerain crowd is up. Now Pride is going to pass. Got a man open.
Intercepted. Intercepted.
What a job. The Bombers number 10. That's Tim Fagel. Number 30. That's Brad Brookbank, and that's Brookbank's 2nd interception of this game. You got fans all over this. Watch Pride. I said he had a great arm. This is a good ball, but he's throwing in the double coverage. Fagel did his job, and what a job by Brookbank.
What you had was the defensive back. Fagel was deeper than the receiver from Colerain. When Pride aired it out, the Colerain receiver had nothing he could do in double coverage.
So Brad Brookbank with his 2nd interception in the game, and now it's up to the Bomber offense to run this clock and get this ball out deep from their own territory. Hobson up the middle. He'll pick up 3 yards. He'll keep that clock moving.
Now the other decision that Kerry Combs and the coaches have to make is when do you start calling timeouts? You've got 3 timeouts. And you can tell the Bombers are content with running the ball and running the clock down.
And they're going to watch that arm signal on the back referee to make sure he puts his hand up. Look at that. And 3 St. Xavier coaches pointing at him, telling him.
I guarantee you he'll be putting his hand up.
Our quarterback is watching you. And there he is. Shear's looking right at him. There it is. 5 seconds. Shear's going to call the play. Sione's got a little bit of a hole, but no more because Dixon shut it down along with Mixon. 3rd and a long 7, maybe 8.
And again, I'll tell you, if I had to pick a player of the game for Colerain at this point, it's got to be Dixon, number 45. He's down on the center every single play, and he is in on almost every tackle that comes off the line.
7 assists and 6 solo tackles for number 45, Calvin Dixon. St. Xavier now 4 for 12 on third down efficiency, and this might be the biggest one that they could pull off here to force the Cardinals to use some timeouts. They're in a spread offense. Let's see if they hand it off to Sione. They fake. There is a whistle on the play. Timeout, Bombers. So Steve Speck going to take one of his timeouts. He didn't like the way they were lined up. It looked like the outside receiver, number 19, Brandon Bird, checked into the game, and then it looked like the Bombers may not have been in the right formation. 2 minutes, 50 seconds left to go. The Bombers with 2 timeouts. Colerain has all 3 of theirs. And wow, you want to talk about putting pressure on your sophomore punter. You'd like to pick this first down up, and you'd like to see it that he can't, that he wouldn't even have to punt.
Well, it looked like they were set to do a pass play that time. They had a single back, Sione in the backfield, and it looked like the way that Shear came off with the ball that he was going to be passing, which doesn't keep your clock running, but they were going for the first down.
Right.
I think Coach Speck feels confident in his team at this point that he'll go for the first down.
And let's see maybe if they're going to, I don't think they'll come back with that draw play because Colerain already saw it with Ashley there. If you would have told me that the Bombers would have gained 154 yards in this game and would have been the leading offensive machine, I'd have really questioned you. They've got 154 yards on 48 plays. The Cardinals with 122 yards on 44 plays. The time possession does go to Colerain, about 24 minutes to 21 minutes. But let's see what St. Xavier can do here. Number 19, that's Brandon Bird. He is checked into the lineup. Number 21 out here in the slot is Chris Sione, and Darius Ashley is in the backfield. They are going to run that draw play. He needs 1 block. He got a half a block. He's going to get out to about the 24.
He's about 2 yards short.
He's going to be about 2 yards short because of that second down loss, and very quickly Colerain calls timeout.
You'll see on that draw on the replay there, you see him get through. He gets under, but there was just a nice game-saving tackle there.
Dante Thompson, number 7, came over to shut him down. Unfortunately, the Bombers couldn't pull one more man and block. Otherwise, they'd still hold on to the ball. Now, if I'm St. Xavier, I think I go with a hard count here to see if you can't pull Colerain offside. Get down, go for a hard count.
The way Colerain...
See what can happen here. 7 punts for Dan Milligan. He's averaging 31 yards a punt. On the other side, Colerain, Matthew Schulte has had 5 punts for 42 yards, and it's Schulte's punting that has really put the Bombers deep in the hole. The St. Xavier defense has turned in 2 interceptions by Brad Brookbank. They've recovered 1 fumble, and it was that fumble recovery that led to the St. Xavier touchdown. Interesting thing is that the Colerain Cardinals have only been across the 50-yard line once in this game.
You know,
long run,
you know, Dave,
by Shear.
Go back to what you just said before about St. X doing a hard count on this punt, trying to get an offsides. The way Colerain has been blitzing and coming hard, you have to wonder if they might not be susceptible to something like that.
Well, they really came last time. They double blocked down and sent a man through the hole last time, and St. Xavier just barely picked it up. See if we can get the good snap. Good snap. Milligan gets
nice
a high kick off here. And at the 43-yard line, and he's going to pick it up about 7 yards, and he's hit there by number 31, Frank Moran. Number 8, Darius Ashley, in on the stop. So the Cardinals with good field position.
And what it was a perfect snap. Milligan was able to get it. Just a nice high spiraling kick and just great coverage. You can see on this replay there's nowhere for him to go after he gets the ball.
And I think the coaching staff wants Danny Milligan to put him high, as that was his 3rd straight 35-yard punt with a lot of height to it. We have an official's timeout as one of the Bombers is injured.
Actually, I think he's trying to fix his helmet.
That's Kevin Davis in there in the middle. Boy, do the Bombers need a push from that offensive line. They bent a little bit last time, but they didn't break. 2 minutes, 33 seconds left to go. This has been a gutsy performance. Late pitch, but a great
beautiful
pitch.
play.
And a one-on-one stop made there by number 30, Brad Brookbank. Brookbank stepping up this year. He's a senior. He didn't play much last year, but boy, he looks like an all-pro out there.
On this replay, Dave, you'll see Pride go. He makes the pitch, and Brookbank just squares, and just what a great open field tackle. And the clock's running.
You know what I'm interested in is that Gary Pride, Ralph, has really learned to make those pitches. He's back. He's
Lou Miller. Lou Miller again.
Lou Miller, number 53. That's a loss back to the 38-yard line. That'll be a 10-yard loss. The Cardinals will be looking at about 3rd and 20, and I got to think they're going to take a timeout here.
You can see on the replay, again, Lou Miller is just possessed. It wasn't an open field, great body tackle, but he got his hands on him and pulled him down by his pants.
I thought they'd take a timeout, but boy, they signaled that play in awful quick, and they're lining up. Lou Miller needed to make that stop as Colerain had flooded some things out. Watch for the trick play here. Pride going back. He's going to throw it up. Brookbank breaks it up. A good play.
Great defensive play.
Great defensive play as both guys were going for the ball there. It's 4th and 19 with 1:18 to go in the game. I thought the Cardinals might want to pick up 10 yards there. Now, does St. Xavier go to the prevent, Ralph, or do they try to just say, hey, we're going to play it straight up?
I think you play your normal defense. You do what you've been doing. I am shocked that Colerain is not taking a timeout here.
I am too.
It's 4th and 19. I can't understand why you wouldn't take a timeout and try to talk this through.
Lou Miller, 4 solo tackles, 9 assisted tackles, 1 sack, 2 forced throws. Pride is really going to throw it up. There's a ton of people out there. Intercepted! Frank Moran, number 31, picks it off at the 23-yard line. That's 3 interceptions for the St. Xavier defense. And the Bombers, if they can run this clock out with 1:10, will pull off a huge upset. The undefeated Colerain Cardinals, the state champs, ranked number 6 in the nation, down 7-0 right now to a very fired up St. Xavier Bomber team.
I'll tell you, on that replay, Dave, you could see what an athletic play that was on that interception. He got it up one-handed and pulled it in.
Hobson and Sione will probably be called upon to hold on to that football because the Cardinals are going to be reaching for it. They have 2 timeouts. The offensive line needs to make some holes. There's Sione going to bowl ahead to about the 26. The Cardinals will take a timeout.
They only have 1 timeout left now. The board has them with 2 timeouts left, but I'm almost certain it's 1 timeout left.
So the St. Xavier students yelling, why so quiet? I'm not sure I do that right now. Interesting idea here, you know, that interception by the Bombers may have cost them 50 yards. If they'd have just knocked it down, they'd have been way back on the Colerain 30. But hey, you don't know that. He was going up there with 4 hands. But, you know, that's a great point. A good interception, but almost too athletics. Like, just knock it down. Don't let him catch it. We're not going to complain about that. It's up to the offense now to make it work.
And I'm sure the coaches are telling him you should have just knocked it down. And he's probably telling them, I know there was 2 Colerain guys right next to me, and I wasn't about to let it go.
Exactly. I'm not going to try to knock it into their hands. So, boy, the St. Xavier defense has come up huge here in this second half. The Colerain Cardinals, you know, with only 6 first downs and 113 yards. Ralph, I guess the question would be, if St. Xavier can hold on, when was the last time Colerain was shut out?
Shear with the
if
keep.
he can stay in bounds, he'll get close to that first down.
That'll be about Colerain's last time out.
2-3 yards short. Timeout Cardinals.
This was really a nice play because what he did was the fake to Sione. You'll see on the replay, here's a fake to Sione, and Shear just tucks it and goes the opposite way. They really did. They took a chance, the offense did, that he could get that first down.
3rd down and about 3 yards to go. The St. Xavier cheering section may be celebrating a little too soon over there. It's always best to wait till, you know, the ship has made it into port.
You know, we saw Shear run that sweep 2 series ago, and that was a very, very nice play. He could break one at any moment. Like you said, it's a little early to start celebrating.
Shear almost got that first down there. Going to be about 3rd, and it looks like 3 yards. They marked it back a little bit shorter. I guess his knee went down. You can bet the Cardinals are going to be reaching for the ball. The third down play that has worked really well for the St. Xavier Bombers has been the draw play to Darius Ashley with Chris Sione in the slot. Hobson's behind Shear. Shear is actually going to
line up with
line up back in the backfield in a T. A little bit of an interesting thing here. Sione's going to go inside. That'll take the ball to the 32-yard line or so, and it'll definitely be fourth down. Now, when they spot this ball is when that clock's going to go. So the Cardinals will have about 18 seconds, Ralph. I think the Bombers, they're going to watch that backhand, but they're really going to let this clock go down.
In fact, Coach Speck might let it run down to the last second, then call a timeout and just punt after a timeout. That's what I'm guessing he's doing.
Well, he's talking to the sideline official.
He's telling him, I want it called as soon as he puts it up.
As soon as he puts it up.
There it is.
17, 16. He's going to take that timeout with 15 seconds. Now, if I'm Dan Milligan, I punt the ball out of bounds. I do not let the Cardinals return this punt. I get it. I'm sure they're telling him, I need you to throw it over here. Number 44, that's Patrick Howe. He's got to get a good snap off here. We've had a couple high. He's done a couple great ones this last time. Milligan's leg has to be hurt, and he's punted 8 times for over 240 yards.
Plus, he's played the whole game.
You know, you look at this game statistically, Ralph. The Bombers, 9 first downs, 87 yards rushing, 80 yards passing, 167 yards altogether, 52 plays. The Colerain Cardinals, 6 first downs, 113 yards rushing, none passing. 25 minutes of possession for the Cardinals, about 25 and a half, about 22 and a half for the Bombers. This is playing out just like you and I said. The only thing is St. Xavier didn't get that second score.
And what, yeah, it is, because what we see is the time of possession is almost equal now.
Different alignment here for the Cardinals. Look, they got 3 guys wide, absolutely need the good snap. They're bringing 10, and they're all coming. Good snap, big rush. Milligan gets it off. Unfortunately, got it off right in the middle of the field,
where he didn't want it.
And there's a ton of people in front, and the Cardinals will be downed on the 41-yard line of St. Xavier. First and 10. A good tackle by Freddie Craig. They got time for one play. Can miracles happen here? The Wayne Warriors are on the near sidelines with the Colerain Cardinals here. The Elder Panthers are lined up on the far sideline. I guess we shouldn't say this, but they all got their helmets and waving them in the air like "Go Bombers." This is kind of interesting. The Wayne Warriors are crowding around, and they're patting each other on the head. Everybody standing in this stadium, including everyone up here on press row. There's no one sitting down. Gary Pride has a great arm. There's trips to the left. Will the Bombers bring some people? They won't. Pride's
There's
got
a
plenty
hold.
of time. Pride's going to run. He falls down.
Oh, no. He lateraled.
Back.
He's got to score because time's gone. That's it.
Ball game. The St. Xavier
shutout by
Bombers
St. X
have beaten the Colerain Cardinals 7-0, and the University of Cincinnati erupts in cheers. Everybody, Colerain fans, St. Xavier fans, both on their feet cheering on their teams. A shutout for the Bombers. And I can't tell you the last time the Cardinals were shut out. What a great job by head coach Steve Speck and his defensive team.
I'll tell you what, it was a great game. It really was a defensive game. The Bombers came back. They made up that time of possession very well in the second half. And as you said, when was the last time Colerain was shut out?
Well, I'm telling you what I like about both these teams, though, is that this was the first game of the year, and both teams tremendous on both sides of the football, special teams. And look at what's happening out there at midfield. They're shaking hands. They know they've been through a battle. Both these teams also know we might see each other one more time, and can you imagine what that one's going to be like after both coaching staffs can look at films of this game? A heartbreaking loss for the Colerain Cardinals here, 7-0. A huge victory for head coach Steve Speck and his St. Xavier Bombers, because, Ralph, next week they go in and they play a team that's won the state championship in Indiana, in Indianapolis Cathedral. The Bombers with 7 state champions on their schedule this year.
Yeah, this is just a great pickup for X, but as you said, there is no letdown because their schedule's nothing but state champions for a while.
I'll tell you what, we saw some great action here. If the preseason polls are right, we'll see these teams again at the end of the year. As always, what a great job by the volunteers of Waycross Community Media. You've seen the awards that they've won. You've watched a lot of their games. And if you'd like to join us, hey, give us a call at 825-2429, because we'd certainly like to have you along the way so that we can continue our winning ways. Waycross, the group that has supported high school sports as well as, if not anyone, better than anyone else in the area, and we thank them for what they've done. For Ralph Nardini, I'm Dave Eby. What a great football game this was. If you like it, give them a call and let them know. And I think a large crowd's going to hang around here for this Elder Dayton Wayne game as head coach Steve Specht and his Bombers are gathering on the far sideline, and head coach Kerry Combs and his Colerain Cardinals, they're gathering here on this near sideline. Neither one of these coaches will tell their teams that they were defeated today. They'll just say it's time for us to come back another day, and that's why both of them will end up in the Coaching Hall of Fame. Once again, it's the St. Xavier Bombers 7 and the Colerain Cardinals 0.
This has been a production of Waycross Community Media, the Access Partnership of Forest Park, Green Hills, and Springfield Township. Opinions expressed are those of the program's participants and do not necessarily represent the Community Programming Board, volunteers and staff of the Waycross Media Center, the community governments, or the cable company. If you have questions regarding this program, or if you would like to participate in the activities of Waycross, call 825-2429. Or write Waycross Community Media, 2086 Waycross Road, Forest Park, Ohio, 45240.